Every single year, millions of people walk onto a cruise ship believing they already understand how the whole system works. Buying the drink package because everyone online says it is worth it, prepaying their gratuities because it feels responsible, and sprinting to the buffet the moment they board because that is just what you do. And every single year, cruise lines quietly collect billions of dollars from exactly those small automatic decisions. Decisions that were never actually designed to help you, they were designed to protect the bottom line of a massive corporation. Today, we are pulling back the curtain on 20 secrets that most passengers never learn until their trip is already over. Some of these will save you real money, some will save you real stress, and at least one or two of them might genuinely surprise you. So, get comfortable, because after this video, you will never step onto a ship the same way again. Before we get into hack number 1, if you are the kind of traveler who wants these insider secrets before your next cruise instead of after, go ahead and subscribe to Senior Cruise Secrets right now. That one small click means you will never miss a video that could quietly save you hundreds of dollars on your next trip. And if you have your own cruise story, good or bad, drop it in the comments, because some of the best hacks on this channel actually came from viewers just like you. Now, let us start with the part of the cruise experience that causes the most quiet damage, and that is money. Hack number 1 begins before you even leave your driveway, and it involves something as small as your luggage tag. That thin paper tag the cruise line mails you is meant to survive being tossed around by dozens of handlers, loaded onto carts, and dragged through humid ports. And it almost never does. It rips, it smudges, and sometimes it falls off entirely, leaving your suitcase lost somewhere in a warehouse, the size of an airport hangar. The fix is simple. Buy a reusable plastic luggage tag holder that zips or snaps shut. Slide your printed tag inside and print a spare copy to tuck inside your suitcase just in case the outer one is ever torn away. It costs you almost nothing, and it can save you a full day of your vacation spent chasing down a missing bag. Hack number 2 is something almost nobody thinks about, and that is the fact that the card or wristband you wear around your neck for the entire trip is not just a room key, it is a tracking device. Every drink you buy, every excursion you book, every specialty dinner you add, all of it gets logged in real time. And that data does not just sit there, it gets used to target you with offers, upsells, and gentle nudges toward spending more. The smart move is to check your onboard account through the ship's app every single day, not just at the end of the cruise, because billing errors happen more often than you would expect, and catching them early means a quick fix instead of a frustrating argument at guest services on the last night. Hack number 3 might be the biggest one on this entire list, and it is the unlimited drink package. On paper, it sounds incredible: unlimited cocktails, coffee, soda, and juice for one flat daily price. But that price is often $60 to $100 per person per day, and many cruise lines require both adults in a cabin to buy it, which means a 7-day cruise could add over $1,000 to your bill before you have taken a single sip. To actually break even, you typically need to drink somewhere between 6 and 10 beverages every single day, and most people simply do not drink that much on vacation, especially with early excursions and afternoon naps in the mix. Instead, try paying as you go for the first day or two and tracking what you actually order. Or watch for prepaid package discounts that show up in the weeks before your cruise, because the price is almost never fixed. Hack number 4 is about that price itself, because very few travelers realize that cruise pricing works exactly like airline pricing. It moves constantly. Drink packages, spa treatments, and even Wi-Fi bundles are priced using dynamic algorithms that respond to demand in real time, which means the price you see today might be gone tomorrow, and it might also be lower. The trick is to check prices using your browser's private or incognito mode, since some booking systems quietly raise prices for visitors who keep returning to the same page. And it also helps to check at different times of day, since prices can shift more than once within 24 hours. Hack number 5 closes out our money section, and it involves that innocent-looking cocktail of the day sign at the pool bar. That drink is almost always built from the cheapest liquor on the ship and loaded with sugary juice to mask the taste. Yet it is priced the same as, or sometimes even higher than, a properly made drink from the regular menu. Ordering the same style of cocktail by name from the full drink menu usually gets you better ingredients for the same money or less, so skip the sign and just ask your bartender what they would actually order for themselves. And while we are talking about drinks, it also helps to remember that most bartenders are happy to make you a lighter version of a normal cocktail if you simply ask, which means you can stretch a single package further while still enjoying something that actually tastes good. One more thing worth mentioning here is that the daily gratuity added to drink packages and specialty dining is usually calculated as a percentage on top of the price you already paid, so a package that looks like $80 a day can quietly become closer to $100 once that percentage is added in, which is exactly why doing the real math before you commit to a package matters so much more than trusting the brochure number. Taking 10 minutes before your trip to write out your actual daily habits, how many coffees, how many sodas, how many evening cocktails, and comparing that honest number against the package price will tell you more than any online review ever could. Hack number 6 takes us into the world of tipping, and specifically the gratuity charge that gets added automatically to your account every single day of your cruise. Most people prepay this without a second thought, but once it is prepaid, you lose almost all leverage if service turns out to be mediocre. A smarter approach is to leave the automatic charge in place, but pay close attention to the staff who actually go above and beyond and reward them directly with cash at the end of the trip. That way, your money goes exactly where you want it to go instead of being spread evenly regardless of effort. Hack number 7 is one that catches new cruisers off guard every time, and it is that you are often allowed to bring your own drinks on board. Most major cruise lines permit a limited amount of wine or champagne per cabin, and some allow a case of water or soda as well. The catch is that the rules vary by cruise line and change often, so check the specific policy for your ship. A few weeks before departure, pack the bottles in your carry-on rather than your checked luggage, and you can walk on with drinks that would have cost you triple the price at the bar. Hack number 8 is about something cruise lines love to advertise, and that is their loyalty program. The entry-level tiers usually sound exciting in the brochure, but in reality, they tend to offer very little beyond a discount coupon book you will probably never use, and maybe a small onboard credit. The real value in these programs only shows up after many cruises. So if you are choosing a cruise line purely based on loyalty points rather than the itinerary and the price, you are likely leaving better vacations on the table. Choose your cruise based on where it goes and what it costs, and let the loyalty points be a bonus rather than the main event. And if you do plan on sailing the same line again within the next year or two, it is still worth signing up for the loyalty program on your very first cruise rather than waiting, since most programs count status retroactively from your first sailing, and there is no reason to start earning credit toward better perks a trip later than you actually have to. Hack number 9 might be the single most requested secret on this entire channel, and it is how to actually get a quiet cabin. The cabins directly below the pool deck sound convenient until 5 in the morning, when deck crews start dragging lounge chairs across the floor above your head, and cabins near nightclubs or theaters can shake gently until well past midnight. The safest bet is a cabin in the middle of the ship, surrounded on all sides by other guest cabins rather than public spaces, since sound travels far less through walls shared with sleeping neighbors than through the floor of an entertainment venue. Hack number 10 wraps up this section, and it involves the ship specialty restaurants, the ones with the steep cover charge and the white tablecloths. These restaurants often sit half empty on the second or third night of a cruise, and staff would rather fill those seats at a discount than leave them empty. So if you are willing to be a little patient and simply ask the host about availability for that evening, discounts of 30 to 50% are not unusual once the ship is a couple of days into the itinerary, and it also helps to know that the emptiest nights are usually the first formal night, and any night the ship is docked in a major port, since most passengers are either dressing up for the main dining room or out exploring on land, which leaves specialty restaurants with far more open tables than they would have on a typical sea day. Another small trick many veteran cruisers use is booking a mid-cruise reservation the moment they board, before they even unpack, since the best time slots fill up quickly and the crew at the specialty dining desk are often more flexible about discounts and add-ons during that first quiet booking window than they will be later in the week once the schedule is full. If this is already changing the way you are planning your next trip, that is exactly why this channel exists. Hit that like button so more travelers like you see this before their own cruise. And if you want a complete printable checklist of everything we cover in this video, it is linked right below. Alright, let us keep going, because the next batch of secrets covers your comfort, your privacy, and your safety on board. Hack number 11 picks up right where we left off with restaurants, because timing is not the only leverage you have. Politely asking your waiter or the host directly, rather than relying only on posted prices, often reveals unadvertised discounts that are never printed on any menu or sign. Staff are usually happy to mention them, but only if you actually ask. Hack number 12 deals with shore excursions. The tours the cruise line sells you through the app or the excursion desk are almost always priced with a heavy markup, since the cruise line is acting as a middleman between you and the local tour operator actually running the activity. Booking directly with an independent local company, found through a quick search before your trip, frequently gets you the same tour, the same guide, and sometimes an even smaller group for a noticeably lower price. Hack number 13 is one that even experienced cruisers forget, and it is that cruise prices can drop after you have already booked and paid in full. If you keep an eye on the price for your specific cabin category in the weeks before departure and it drops, a quick call to guest services or your travel agent can sometimes get you a price adjustment or an onboard credit to make up the difference. It never hurts to ask. And the worst outcome is simply hearing no. Hack number 14 happens on the very first day of your cruise, when hundreds of hungry, excited passengers all head straight for the same buffet the moment they board. The lines are long, the tables are packed, and the food has often been sitting out for a while. A calmer option almost always exists, since many ships quietly run smaller specialty grills, made-to-order stations, or even open dining rooms on embarkation day that most new cruisers do not know about. Simply asking the crew where else you can eat usually leads to a much more relaxed first meal on board. Hack number 15 is about something that happens after a cruise goes wrong, when the cruise line offers you a future cruise credit as an apology for a canceled port or a mechanical issue. These credits often come loaded with restrictions, tight expiration windows, blackout dates, and limits on which sailings they can even be used for. Before accepting one, always ask whether a cash refund or an onboard credit for your current trip is available instead, since both of those options come with far fewer strings attached than a promise to sail again within a narrow window of time. And it is worth keeping a simple written record of any promises made by staff during a service disruption, including the name of the person you spoke with and the date, because when you follow up later by phone or email, having those small details ready almost always speeds up the process and makes the crew on the other end far more willing to help you quickly. One more habit worth building into every cruise is checking your folio, which is the running bill tied to your cabin, every 2 or 3 days rather than waiting until the final morning, since a charge you do not recognize is far easier to fix calmly at guest services mid-cruise than it is to untangle in a rushed line on the last day when hundreds of other passengers are trying to settle their own accounts at the exact same time. Hack number 16 touches on something a little uncomfortable, and that is the fact that under maritime law, ship security has the legal right to enter your cabin at almost any time for safety reasons, even with a "Do Not Disturb" sign clearly hanging on your door. This is not something to be afraid of, but it does mean that anything genuinely valuable, passports, extra cash, jewelry, should live in your cabin safe rather than sitting out on a dresser or tucked into a suitcase. Hack number 17 is about the photography stations set up all over the ship, where photographers snap your picture at every dinner and every port stop, and then display those printed photos in a gallery designed to make you feel a small twinge of guilt. If you walk past without buying at least one, those prints are priced far higher than what they are actually worth. And the good news is that many ships quietly discount unsold photos on the final night of the cruise. So if you can resist the urge to buy on day 2, waiting almost always pays off. Hack number 18 is one of the most underused secrets on this whole list, and it is that free food exists well beyond the main dining room and the buffet. Most ships run a made-to-order pasta station, a late-night pizza counter, and a casual grill that stays open long after the buffet has closed for the evening. None of it appears on the printed daily schedule in an obvious way, so the simple move is to ask any crew member where the hidden free spots are, and you will likely discover 2 or 3 new favorite meals you never would have found otherwise. Hack number 19 is a small but genuinely useful one, and it involves power outlets. Cabins on most ships only offer 1 or 2 working outlets, and they are often positioned in inconvenient spots. Worse, some cruise lines will confiscate a regular power strip if it has a surge protector built in. Since that is considered a fire risk under maritime safety rules, the fix is to buy a travel-approved power strip that is specifically labeled as non-surge protected, and pack it before you leave home, since finding one once you are already on board is nearly impossible. And finally, hack number 20 brings us to the Steakhouse, the priciest specialty restaurant on most ships, where a single dinner can cost as much as $50 per person before drinks. On many ships, that same steakhouse actually pulls its cuts of meat from the exact same kitchen and supplier as the main dining room, which means quietly asking your main dining room waiter whether tonight's menu includes a similar cut is sometimes all it takes to get a strikingly similar meal for the price already included in your cruise fare. And if the exact cut is not available that particular evening, most head waiters are still willing to prepare a simple grilled steak on request, even when it is not printed anywhere on the menu, since kitchens on most ships keep a small stock of basic proteins on hand, specifically for guests with dietary needs or simple requests like this one. All you really have to do is ask politely a day in advance, so the galley has time to prepare it properly. And that single request alone has quietly saved thousands of passengers the full price of a specialty steakhouse dinner without them ever having to leave their assigned table. And that is all 20 small decisions that can quietly decide whether your next cruise costs you an extra $1,000 or saves you one. If even a couple of these change how you pack, book, or spend on your next trip, then this video did exactly what it was meant to do. So make sure you are subscribed for the next one, share this with the person in your life who is already planning their next cruise, and leave a comment telling us which hack surprised you the most. We read every single one, and if you found even one new idea here today, remember that the goal was never to make you distrust every cruise line out there. Plenty of ships still deliver an incredible vacation. The real goal was simply to make sure you are the one making informed choices instead of quietly going along with whatever the default option happens to be, because the difference between a good cruise and a great one usually comes down to a handful of small decisions made before you ever set foot on the gangway. Pack smart, ask questions, check your bill often, and treat every price you see as a starting point rather than a fixed number. Until next time, safe travels, and we will see you on the next video.